This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com.
Discover the life-changing benefits of Meow Greens for your cat. Ever see your cat slowing down or having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Meow Greens to your cat's food for 90 days, and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, I'm naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Meow Greens, and I invite you to take the Meow Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your cat will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, they're going to have better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch a free Jumpstart trial bag for your cat today. Go to trymeowgreens.com. Use promo code TRYMEOW. That's try, M-E-O-W. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your cat's food to improve your cat's health. Just add a packet of Meow Greens.
Man, just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barreiro's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
It's indeed that time again. Top 5 at 5. Louis, at the bottom of the hour, I'm assuming you're going to feel obligated again to start with hockey, or are you going to surprise me and mix it up?
Time now for the obligatory Kevin Fallness Minnesota Wild mention.
Game 2 tonight on the Fan, pregame 9:45 for a 10, technically 10:15 puck drop. Game 1 against the Golden Knights ended like this.
Eriksson won it to the left wing boards. Charging to a Kaprizov, hacked it in to the right wing corner. 5 seconds to go. Trying to jam it in front with Spurgeon. It came free for a moment. Eriksson wrapped up to the empty net. They scored the buzzer. Either way, game 1 goes the way of the Golden Knights. We'll see if it counts. Either way, again, the Wild trail the series 1-0.
It did count. Final 4-2 in game 1. There's some line combo news via Russo Radio. The top line goes unchanged. Kaprizov, Eriksson, and Boldy. Ryan Hartman gets a promotion to the third line with Foligno and Nyquist. And poor Marco Rossi is stuck on a fourth line with Brazeau and Trenyon. Good luck.
That's worked out well.
Yeah, good luck to Marco
Brazeau's
Rossi
worked out
tonight.
well. That was one of our big trades, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was a big deadline get for this club.
It's worked out really well.
Skate. So, yeah.
So are we...
Game 2 tonight.
Where are you on the importance of mixing and matching lines? What's your... Do we overrate how much of a difference that actually makes? Is it you know, is in some cases you're just doing it to do it and it doesn't really matter that much? Or do you buy the notion that, no, this is what, especially when things don't go your way, this is what the coach is obligated to do?
Well, I'll say this. I know that they want Eriksson out on the ice at the same time Jack Eichel is, which I get. But that doesn't mean he has to be. And I love Eriksson, by the way. This is not Eriksson slander fan line. That doesn't mean he has to be on the top line in order to do that. And I just think, even though, and the top line was great, they scored both of the goals for the Wild. Boldy scored both of them. So it's not that I think they're underperforming, need to be split up. I just think you need to spread the love a little bit, and they've had success with Kaprizov, Rossi, Zuccarello on a line, and maybe you have Eck, Boldy, and Johansson or someone on the second line. Just something so that it's not just one line dominant of scoring, and you can still have that matchup that you want. So that's personally what I would do, because in my opinion, you're not setting up Marco Rossi to succeed by putting him on that line. And then we're going to go back and go, well, you know what? He didn't produce in the playoffs, so he's got to go.
Yeah,
It's like, you put him on the fourth line.
Right.
So, anyways, I know that's going to happen.
You remind me that the actual start time tonight is not 10, it's 10:15.
Yeah.
Central time, which, by the way, means 11:15 Eastern time, where Luigi will be. We'll talk to him about what he does to try to stay awake. Although Louis, I think, has endless energy. I think Louis is one of those guys who needs like about 3.5 hours sleep every night. We'll find out all of that later. The stakes are obvious here. You can't say necessarily that the series is over if the Wild lose again tonight, because they'll be coming back home for the next couple of games. But and I know when you're the road team, you have to make some noise at some point on the road. And the further you get behind in this series, I think the more perilous the situation clearly will be for the club. And it's interesting to hear Russo yesterday suggest that, look, I know the way these guys play, and I know the approach that has given them the greatest success early in the season was not really very wide open, fairly conservative. But he wondered out loud, and I think it's a fair point. Sooner or later, maybe, do you have to be a little bit more aggressive than that and say we have to, at least for a stretch of the game, try to take the action to the other team, even if that's not totally been their personality, their signature? Because sooner or later, if you're playing a superior team, you got to do something to change the calculus. So are we capable of that? I don't know. But to me, there's something to be said. If you're sitting back as conservatively as we tend to like to play, you can probably keep it close again. But might you shock them and surprise them a little bit if you try to force some of the action? We'll find out what the approach is tonight.
So that's on the Fan. On the iHeartRadio app, you'll hear Game 2 of this.
Tremendous offensive night for the Wolves. The horn sounds here in L.A., and the Wolves have taken Game 1. They've stunned this Laker crowd, and they've stunned Luka Doncic and LeBron James and the Lakers to the tune of 117-95.
That's on the Timberwolves channel, iHeartRadio app. Game 2 tonight from formerly Staples Center, or whatever it is now, Crypto something or other. Lakers and your Wolves.
Lakers, I think, are favored by 5 in this game. I thought I saw 4.5, maybe 5 points, right in that range. We talked extensively with Mitch.
Oh, I've got it at 6.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, okay.
So you got it even more.
Mitch, I think, makes a fair point that the Lakers realistically are going to have to try to do some different things, and maybe it's LeBron takes a little more center stage. Luka becomes a little bit more secondary, at least at the start. And obviously that can change over a course of a game. That wouldn't totally surprise me. I think, look, the Wolves have to be prepared clearly for more physicality, even though I don't think the Lakers are a real physical team. That's the other thing. Can you really change your personality on the fly? I don't know that you can, but they have to be embarrassed by what took place in the opener. And, the crowd, it's interesting. There wasn't much booing. I felt like it was so one-sided that the crowd was too stunned to even bother to boo. There was this sort of weird, what I sensed was an undercurrent of, oh my God, this wasn't part of the plan, Genie Bus. This wasn't, we were anointed, right? And there's a good text that's come in on the subject of Nico, the guy who runs the Mavericks and Under Siege, and whether we're all getting a little bit too into what we have been told to believe about what this trade was going to do for the Lakers, if in fact they're in as much trouble as Mitch Lawrence, among others, thinks they already are, and what it took away from the Dallas Mavericks. But we will save that. Just know that it is a night where you pull out all the stops. If you're interested in hanging around for all these games, it is a night where you use all of your favorite tricks when it comes to attempting to stay awake.
Dr. White Sox has checked in at Target Field. 6:40 first pitch. This is the start of a 6-game homestand between the White Sox and the Angels here in Minnesota. you would have to think that if there's ever a get-right time for the Twins, it's against the White Sox team. Ober goes for the Twinkies today.
This was the get-right situation a year ago. In a very similar circumstance, these are the two teams. The Twins came home to play, and it opened things up for them. We are solidly in fourth place, only 2 games ahead of the White Sox right now. I don't even know how haughty we can be. We are 7-15. They are, yes, in last place with the worst record again in the American League, 5-17. I think 227 winning percentage is gaudy for them, though, compared to a year ago. So we'll see if the White Sox can be the great elixir after the Twins just got swept in one of your favorite towns, Atlanta, Georgia.
Are you familiar with the name Lou Lamoriello?
Sure am.
He is out as the GM of the New York Islanders, longtime Devils GM. One of the more traditional guys. I mean, he was one of the guys that had similar rules to the Yankees where I don't know if he was a no facial hair rule, but he had weird, like you always have to be in a suit and just kind of I don't want to say draconian, but just odd old school rules guy. The Islanders extend a heartfelt thank you to Lou Lamoriello for his extraordinary commitment over the past 7 years. The team said his dedication to the team is in line with his Hall of Fame career. So what was your favorite Lou Lamoriello moment?
Well, we'll ask Louis that question because obviously he will have quite a few over the years. Did I see something, too, that have there been, like, rapid coaching changes was it Seattle?
Well, yeah, Seattle got rid of their hockey coach for the Kraken.
That's what I thought. But how long was he there?
I don't know.
I didn't think that long.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of conversation about in the NBA. Phoenix is got to hire another coach, and you do fall into that trap of let's just keep changing coaches. And if you have deep enough pockets like the Ishbia brothers do, you don't care. You just keep writing the checks until you quote unquote get it right. But it generally is symptomatic of a bigger issue that goes just beyond blaming everything on the head coach. Maybe we'll get into that with Louis as well at the bottom of the hour.
One more for you. Speaking of Atlanta, Kirk Cousins actually showed up to the voluntary off-season program for the Falcons. Raheem Morris, head coach, said he wasn't going to last month at the annual league meeting, but here he is nonetheless. I don't know if that is... I mean, where does that leave you on he could be the backup here in Minnesota trade potential? Is it discouraging for that because he's showing up to Falcons activities? Or is it encouraging that he still wants to be football related? Well,
we did talk about that with Seifert, and he was quoting an ESPN piece by, was it Schefter? I think it was. Naming the Vikings as one of 2 teams that might be a landing place for Kirk. Obviously, here it would be as a backup. That means he would have to waive his no-trade clause. That means he would have to be fully cognizant of the fact that there's no other place where he could become a starter. I don't rule it out. I don't think it's an impossibility at all. I think it's among the possibilities moving forward here. We'll see. There are contractual realities there. But as Seifert said, there's a lot of ways to do it where you might actually be willing to take more money if in return you can get some draft picks. And we all know that the Lord knows the Vikings need more draft picks. Now, this year, I don't think this is going to happen before draft because that's Thursday. But it's worthy of consideration moving forward. So I don't know what this means, what kind of statement Cousins was trying to make. Was it, you're not going to get rid of me this easy, and I'll be the backup here if that's what you want? Or might he have more interest if he's going to be a backup at coming back to a place where he kind of already knows the territory? All those are very interesting questions. Some text to get to that I want to respond to, and we'll give you a little bit more detail on the Seattle Kraken coaching situation. And then we'll prepare for Luigi at the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned.
Oh, tasty high note. Oh, hi, don't mind me. I'm practicing my new baritone sax. I just heard PayPal's paying for people's stuff every day for 100 days, and there's $10 million up for grabs. All you have to do is use PayPal checkout online. So there's never been a better time to buy a few things off the old wish list. Like this leaf blower! PayPal could pay for your purchase. The Great PayPal Checkout.
No purchase necessary. Ends July 18th. See official rules at paypal.com/thegreatpaypalcheckout/terms. Participating merchants only must use PayPal Checkout online. Coverage of up to $100 and eligible purchases per card.
Discover the life-changing benefits of Meow Greens for your cat. Ever see your cat slowing down or having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Meow Greens to your cat's food for 90 days, and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, I'm naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Meow Greens, and I invite you to take the Meow Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your cat will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, they're going to have better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch a free Jumpstart trial bag for your cat today. Go to trymeowgreens.com. Use promo code TRYMEOW. That's try MEOW. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your cat's food to improve your cat's health. Just add a packet of Meow Greens.
Bonus Bucks is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. To enter keywords and learn more at KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is presented by BigDeck.com. For this hour, the keyword is bank. KFAN.com, keyword bank for your chance at Bonus Bucks from BigDeck.com.
Dan Barreiro, the Seattle Kraken coach, fired after one season. So they, like Phoenix, it's almost like we're going to keep going to the well until we get it right. This followed the firing of Dave Haxtell at the end of the 2023-24 season. So the Kraken seem to be attempting to emulate the Phoenix Suns without a lot of success. We might ask Louie about that, as well as your guy, Lou Lamoriello, as well. A text that was responding to maybe a little bit of Top 5 of 5 and a little bit of Mitch Lawrence, who joined us at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. One would think the Lakers would be the best team in basketball, being on the other side of one of the worst trades in the history of sports, since they were pretty good before. I wonder if groupthink and the madness of the crowds, is running amok here and clouding sound judgment and observation. It's a fair observation, I think, but I think because, like you say, if this was the worst trade ever, how can the Lakers already be on the brink of complete embarrassment in their first round series? I would again add, it's one game. It was an encouraging game, and it may for the Wolves, and a discouraging game for the Lakers. There's no question about that. They were humiliated in the opener, but then it may well end up that this is a really bad matchup for the Lakers. Very possible that it is, but I got to see it play out a little bit longer before I'm ready to have put the Wolves in the NBA Finals and say the Lakers are the worst team ever. And on the Luka part, here's what you have to remember. The deal, and most, I think a significant part of the reason that most of us thought it was such a ridiculous trade isn't just because you traded a top 5, 25-year-old player still in his prime, but that you really didn't maximize. If you're going to do something that unusual, then you have to get a better return than the Lakers did. But beyond that, I don't think it was anybody who said, well, this makes the Lakers, odds-on favorite to come out of the West this year. This was a move that you say, well, even if this year doesn't go great and they get eliminated in the first round, you're going to have several bites, many bites at the apple with Luka, and maybe then extra time to figure out better ways to complement him and put the right kind of players around him. So the celebration on the deal from the Lakers standpoint really wasn't for the rest of this season. Maybe people got ahead of themselves because they had a good stretch where they looked like, well, maybe they don't even have to wait to make a championship run. It was now, given his age, unless he, like I said, does nothing but drink beer and refuse to try to get in any kind of a shape, which I doubt that's going to happen, that you're going to have many more opportunities when you add a player that young. You've sort of like extended the lifespan of a team that thought it was going to have to be sort of start over a little bit once LeBron was going to retire, which might be as soon as next season. So I think with Luka, you even if they get swept in this series, yeah, if you're Nico in Dallas, you kind of like that, and you'd say, well, God, I hope this takes a little pressure off. Deep down, I'm sure it would make him smile, but you still are going to have plenty of time to fix whatever ails this mix of players, and give yourself a better chance if you can still have. I mean, we all know this. Complementary players are pretty easy to find. Sometimes it takes time to get the right ones around a superstar player. But the hard part is to get a superstar. And Luka is unquestionably a superstar. He's been conference finals twice already. He's been to the NBA finals once. His scoring average, I think right now, career playoff scoring average is the highest in recent memory in the NBA. So it even if it goes badly and the Wolves continue to dominate them, it might take a little a bloom off the Luka rose, that it's not automatic, that he's just going to walk in and change everything. But believe me, there'd be a lot of teams that say, well, I'll take a few more cracks at moving some pieces around, because I can move the other pieces around much more easily than I can find a star player available to me at not a great return price at the age of 25 years old. Louis, as I mentioned, is coming up next. I am going to, a number of people had asked whether I would be discussing the news that Mary Moriarty made. I think really that story broke late during the show yesterday. I was not aware of it at the time, and we will get to it at 6 o'clock. Once we're done with Luigi, because we are going all the way to 6:30 tonight, correct?
We are.
No early finish for us. So there will be an opportunity, and I do have, some rather strong opinions on a decision regarding the individual responsible for thousands of dollars of damage on several Teslas in the area, and the ultimate decision on how to, I guess, charge said individual who has fessed up. I don't even think there's any question of responsibility and guilt in this place, but we will. Anybody who listens to this show will know that I'm not at all surprised that Moriarty is back to undercharging once again. I don't think at this point anybody should be gobsmacked. Let's face it, the only time she's been willing to overcharge a case, it involved a cop named Londrigan, and we all know how that turned out. A disastrous decision on her part that made no sense from the beginning. We know which direction she's going to go when she overcharges, and we sure as hell know the number of examples in which she's undercharged, and we've talked about many of those cases in the past. But we'll drill deeper into some of the tentacles of that story, because there's a lot to get to. In fact, there was another case involving a Tesla that we didn't discuss as well that provides some interesting background out of Bloomington, Minnesota as well. So that'll be between 6 and 6:30. We'll break now and prepare for Luigi, what he wants to see better in game number 2 tonight for your Minnesota Wild, if anything. If you have questions for Louie, hit the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, 646.
Oh, tasty high note. Oh, hi, don't mind me. I'm practicing my new baritone sax. I just heard PayPal's paying for people's stuff every day for 100 days, and there's $10 million up for grabs. All you have to do is use PayPal checkout online. So there's never been a better time to buy a few things off the old wish list. Like this leaf blower! PayPal can pay for your purchase. The Great PayPal Checkout.
No purchase necessary. Ends July 18th. See official rules at paypal.com/thegreatpaypalcheckout/terms. Participating merchants only must use PayPal checkout online. Coverage of up to $100 and eligible purchases per card.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to TalkSpace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at TalkSpace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at TalkSpace.com.
8-6.
Well, she sneaks around the world from India to Carolina. She's a sticky-fingered filcher from Berlin down to Belize. She'll take you for a ride on a slow motion China. Tell me, where in the world is
New Nanny?
This is a pretty good week for winter sports fans, is it not? The first round Stanley Cup playoffs, first round NBA playoffs. You got like 9 games every night. You got a lot of things to choose from. You got some drama. You might have some routes as well. But all feels right with the world if you're into the games of the postseason periods of both hockey and basketball. If you have questions for Louie, and many of you do because I'm already getting them, hit the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line at 646. Louie is brought to you by Kemp's, as always. I want to start with a Russo tweet that we talked about during the top 5 and some maneuvering in the wild lines you may have seen. Top line, Kaprizov, Eriksson, Ek, and Boldy. Second line, Johansson, Gaudreau, Zuccarello, Foligno, Hartman, and Nyquist on the third line, and Trennan, Rossi, your guy, Brazo, or how you pronounce his name, Brazo, on line number 4. So essentially, Hartman and Rossi swap. What do you make of those decisions?
Well, Hartman had a great game to start with, and Rossi, he's not as physical as Hartman, and this is a series that's going to be physical all the way through. Vegas is a big team, and I think that maybe Hines is a little concerned that some of Rossi's effectiveness could get lost in that type of game, and so he moves Hartman up. Hartman had a terrific game last game, and he wants to get him in position to get on the ice more times and maybe bring up the scoring at second line. He factored in the 2 goals that the Wild scored when he was on the ice before the line change with Eriksson Ek. And both of those times he was able to get involved, to get into plays that had the Wild score goals. So he's probably, and by the way, he kept his composure really, really well. When he got cross-checked in the face and didn't react, and there wasn't a penalty call, which really upset me. I couldn't even believe that. But he kept his composure. He played physically. He took checks and didn't retaliate, and he gave a lot of checks, and he had a heck of a game.
What's going on with Rossi, do you think?
Well, it's not just the last game. He's been in somewhat of a,
that's it.
I don't want to say slump, but drought, but less productive than he'd been all the way through before that. And you wonder sometimes, and I don't think that's the case, but being not a big guy, does the 82 game schedule, which he's played so much, he wasn't one of the guys out with injuries for a long period of time, and so he had a lot of ice time. And does that take a factor out of a smaller guy, out of his body, because he's playing in physical games for such a long period of time, or you get a little stale, or you're just not strong enough to compete in some of the areas that you have to compete in when you get to the playoffs? Every puck is contested. You're battling all the time, and does the wear and tear of that in the game have an effect on him? I'm not surprised by the move. I thought that they might do something like that because you got to go with the guys that can really be a factor fighting for pucks, and Hartman can do that better than Rossi. And Eriksson Ek's going to be number 1 as it is. And I think that it's going to be a question of, will Rossi and Gaudreau interchange positions during the game tonight? Will Gaudreau be effective enough to keep Rossi in the 4th line and him in the 3rd line?
612 guy asks you this question: should we keep the first line together? Hold on. Once again, I got to scroll down here quickly as they come in fast. Or better to try to spread the scoring threats around?
Well, the thought is that they have scoring in the other lines. It just
It's not
they didn't
happening.
get it.
Right.
And you don't want to go away from something that's producing, because one goal could win you the game. It could be a 1-0 game. It could be a 2-1 game. If these guys can continue to put points on the board, I don't see why you bring them up to try and find something different. You got to find something different between the other 9 forwards and who could produce and generate some offense. And maybe moving Hartman up there can do something. You got to get more from Nyquist. I'm disappointed Nyquist hasn't been more of a factor since they've traded for him. And Johansson's got to continue to play. The last 2-3 weeks, Johansson was sensational. And he can generate. So when you got him on a second line, he could be a factor. And Zuccarello's consistently there to give you plays, make passes and stuff like that. That second line could be a factor tonight. They could get some goals. They could generate some offense. So I wouldn't give up on that first line right away to try and find something more and different when you already get something that's working.
It is amazing how everything gets maximized in the postseason, right? I mean, we start analyzing these games like we analyze individual football games during the season, right? Because there's a lot at stake in every single game, and you don't have a lot of time to recover. It's best of 7. You got to figure things out quickly. But it does become a little, I think, easy to blow whatever problems are out of proportion, simply because that's all we have to. Right now, all we have to go on in terms of the playoffs is one game.
Well, not only that, Dan, you have to remember that the game that the Wild played was very good. Now, they essentially lost 3-2. You know, the last goal scored with, 1/10 of a second left on the clock. So that happened. But I have to tell you, the Wild could have won a game as easily as they lost that game. And the main thing is, they didn't complain. I'm glad they're holding their composure and their discipline. But when they took a penalty and Gaudreau faced off, the moment that face-off was taken, I'm screaming at the TV, yelling, how could you not call that? That was such a blatant interference call. There should have been no goal, and they should have been right away. Vegas should have had a penalty. They should have been 4-4 essentially for 2 minutes, because the Wild took the penalty. They had a draw to the right of Gustafsson, and the puck was dropped, and the guy just dumped Gaudreau right there at the face-off circle. He interfered right away, and I'm glad Messier talked about it on TV, because that was so blatant. I couldn't believe the announcers. Nobody said anything about it. I'm watching, what are you looking at here? And because of what happened to Gaudreau, Foligno was hesitant to go out to cover the guy, and he should have, he shouldn't have even gone there. He should have stayed with the other guy and let the shot come to the point. Well, when he moved, pass came across, and it was a wide open net because Gustafsson couldn't even see where the puck was, let alone react to it. And had that not happened, you're in a tie game. The Wild had a good hockey game. They played very well. There were ebbs and flows for both teams in that game. So I'm not desperate. They could have won the game as easily as they lost it.
So here's one of the things that Russ and I talked about yesterday. He said, look, I get when you go back to the first half of this season when this team was playing as well as anybody in the league and they were healthier, the style was pretty well established, right? And you and I talked about this, I think, when you gave us some bonus time on Sunday, that they're going to go back to their roots, which is, play fundamentally sound, try to jump on mistakes the other team makes, good goaltending, et cetera. That was sort of their mode of success. Is it possible, as Russo suggested yesterday, that they may have to think out of that box a little bit, in that you're playing a team that on paper is a better team, maybe not a vastly superior team, but a better team, more accomplished team, and that every once in a while, even if it's a little bit out of character, you've got to force the action a little bit, even if it means you're taking more chances to try to sort of change the calculus of the game. Put them on the defensive. Is there something to that if you're going to ever get over the hump here, that you might have to get out of your own comfort zone a little bit and be a little bit more the aggressor than perhaps we're accustomed to?
Well, they may have to do it tonight, but they didn't have to do it last game because they played a very good game last game. They played a game that they could have won as easily as they lost. The biggest mistakes, and then I don't want to use the word mistake, but the biggest thing that they could have done better in the last game was get shots through to the net. And I have to tell you, and Beam's got it. You know, you're a rookie, and you can understand a rookie coming in. He's going to, no matter what you think about it, he's going to overpass because it's just something that individuals have that they want to make sure when they come up and they play up at the top level that they're not seem like they're hogging the puck or trying to be a hero or something. They'll pass the puck more than they should, and the final when they had to take a penalty on the power play, when they did have a power play, he should not have passed that puck, but he did it a couple times. He passed them shots, which you don't pass up, and that's just being a rookie. But overall, the team as a whole, I think they must have had 27 shots blocked. You got to find a way to get the puck through, and sometimes when you can't get the puck through, you have to use the boards beside the net. You don't shoot for the net, you shoot to miss the net because the puck comes right back out. And many times the goaltender can't react really well to it. And if your forward's there and alert to it, or even if you guys talk about it, they'll be alert to it, look for it. If I can't get the shot on net, if I can't get it through, I'm going to put it beside the net so it comes out. And if they do that better, they would have had, more quality or better chances. But sometimes you got to be shooting from the side.
Yep.
And when you shoot from the side, if you're shooting from the right or left side, the key is to hit the net, because if you miss the net, that puck's going all the way around coming out of the zone. But those are things that the Wild could do better. And had they done better there, it could have resulted in a goal or two. But if they play as well tonight as they played last game, with just making a couple of adjustments they should make, they got a good chance to win the game.
Well, but I mean, I also think there's a lot of games they've lost over the course of the last 10 years, Louis, where you could say the same thing. Sooner or later, you got to break through. And like the margin for error, I don't have to tell you this, in the postseason is so reduced. Example, they do get a penalty, and almost immediately the team that has one of the best power plays in the league scores. It was like 5 seconds later. That's often the difference in games like this. You have to find a way to tilt the balance in the other direction. I
agree with you 100% in that. But don't bring up that goal, because that 5 seconds after the play, that was a blatant interference call that goal should have never happened. I would have been just nuts if I was general manager of that game. I would have been running down that press box to the supervisor and say, that guy shouldn't even work another game. That is ridiculous. That was so blatant I couldn't even believe it. And that goal should have never happened. So in my mind, the guy that, Foligno should have stayed with the guy in the side, but it doesn't matter. That was just brutal. We haven't seen whether they can kill a penalty right or not, because that didn't even have a chance to happen. But you're right. But you're playing a team that is very capable of winning the Stanley Cup. If Vegas wins the Stanley Cup this year, nobody's going to be surprised. They are that good of a team. But the Wild are playing them well, and they play them well. They have to make some adjustments. They did lose, so you got to make adjustments.
Yeah, right.
And some of the adjustments are, you have to have better balance scoring from the other lines, but you got to get pucks through the net.
Pressure.
And you got to try things that might work when you're not getting pucks through the net.
Yep.
They played a sound defensive game, holding Vegas to 24 shots or something in their home ice, including penalty killing. That's a hell of a job. If you hold Vegas to 24 shots every game, you got a real good chance to win. You got a real good chance to win, and you're doing that in their home arena. There were many times during that game where they had a lot of ebbs and flows because Vegas had some good opportunities too. But the Wild had the play, and even the announcers. I mean, you look at the Subban saying Vegas got to do something different to try and stop Kaprizov. This is not going to, it's not going to go well for him. Well, it did go well for him because they did get that big penalty power play goal on the Wild penalty. But overall, I'd be satisfied if the Wild played the same way tonight as far as checking them and limiting their opportunities and maybe changing a little bit of their offense and looking to get some more offense from the other lines. And I think that that'll give them a chance. Yes, if they get any power play chances, they got to do better than they did in the power play they had, and they certainly got to be better in the penalty killing if they give some up. I think Vegas is number 2 in the league in penalty and then power play goals, but they got to be better there.
All right, so are you in Florida?
Yeah.
So the game, your time, will start, I guess,
11 o'clock.
It's apparently 11:15, Louis. It's actually 11:15, we're told now. So what's the Lou Nanne, what are the best Lou Nanne tips for keeping yourself going when a game doesn't even begin, in your case, till close to midnight? Is there a drink, an elixir that helps you? Do you drink coffee all night? Is it something else? What do you do calisthenics? What's the approach?
Well, actually, even the last game, I taped the game because I was going to go to sleep after one period and watch the next day.
Okay.
But the game was so good I couldn't go to bed. So I watched it all the way through.
Right.
And I know that's probably going to happen tonight. Now, for the normal person, they should get a nap before if they're here. Get a nap, go, have dinner, go to bed 7:30, sleep for 3 hours, and get up and then watch the game and go back to bed.
Yeah, right.
I can't do that. I don't nap. So I'm going to kill myself. I mean, it just kills me.
Yeah.
I said, what are they doing?
Yeah.
These games. I can't wait till they get in a different time zone.
Yeah, it's an interesting night because the Wolves play, what do we say, at 9, Brett Blakemore, I think? 9 o'clock, a little after 9 maybe. That game will probably be delayed. And then Wild, so it's a good night to figure out whatever.
It's a good night that way.
Yeah,
right. You can watch the Wolves, and you can go to the Wild.
You can go and you can go back and forth nicely. Night. Yeah, it's a big night, and I just think people, if you're into it, you're going to deal with it, and you're going to be just fine with it. Question has come in via the text line about Zeev. Zeev showed tentativeness to shoot and deferred to passing when a shot should have occurred. Hold on, I scroll down again. What do you see? What do you as a player tell him to trust his instinct and not defer to his line mates?
Exactly that. Trust your instinct and shoot the puck. When you're up here, the fact that you're in the NHL doesn't mean you play differently. You play to your strengths. And part of your strengths is recognizing when you have opportunities and take that opportunity. You're not there to please your teammates or make pretty plays. You're there to help and the way you win is by using your instincts. When it tells you to take the shot, you take the shot. But it's no different for him than any rookie does it. First-year pros, they all do it. We all did it. It's just something that comes naturally. You're just hesitant to play, to take the shot when your teammate might also have a shot, but you got a better chance, but you don't realize that, and you pass it up. I have to tell you, he played a very good game. He played a solid game. Everybody's going to make some mistakes, yeah. But you look at the goal that was the winning goal. It was 3-2, right?
Right.
The third goal was really a 3-on-2. The Wild forwards got caught deep. Too many guys got caught deep. Now, when you come down 3-on-2, and that's the one play that's practiced the most of any play in hockey. I don't care who the coach is, what the team is, what you eventually do during practice, and most of the practice, you practice line rushes. And on the line rushes, you practice 3-on-2s. And what you have to do there, the main thing, 3-on-2s, anytime you have an outnumbered situation, the thought is you have to get a shot on net. You have to get a shot on net. So if you're defending, what you're saying to yourself, I've got to give them the worst shot on net. And unfortunately, now it was Bogosian and Z both defending. And Z was doing a job. He was up high enough and playing it. And Bogosian also came up a little to help him. Well, the key is, it's hard to do, but you almost have to start dropping one guy back when you see the other guy going up, and almost play 2 2-on-1s, so that you're always keeping the puck to the outside, because you're going to force the pass to the outside and let the goalie handle shot. You handle pass across. But the centerman made such a good play. The moment that he got across the line, his winger was coming with such speed, he was able to pass it, and the defenseman can't react that as fast as the guy going forward. You're going to go backwards. And he got himself on an angle. Howden came in, made the shot, and got the goal. It was just terrifically handled by Vegas. They made an outstanding play by getting a perfect shot. The guy coming with speed, with a good angle, puts it away. You got to commend Vegas to that. They should get the shot they did. They got a good shot, and they put it away. But overall, the Wild and Goshen and Bouillon played a heck of a game together. They were out there many times against the first line, and they got the puck out. They defended well. They played a good game. You got to just hand it to Vegas. They got a 3-2. They capitalized and made them count when they had that chance.
Lou Lamoriello, as you know, is out as Islanders, I should say, general manager. What do you think about that?
Well, Louis and I are very close friends. We played against each other in 1963. I was captain of the Gophers. He was captain of Providence. We were playing the tournament at RPI, and we beat him, and we won the tournament. And after the game, I never knew the guy, and then he said, "Wait for me after. I'd like to go have a drink with you." So after the game, he and I went with our my teammates, because we won a championship. We had the trophy, and Mariucci had the trophy, and we snuck in his room and stole it and went to the bar, and and we were toasting, winning the thing, and saying, "Here's to Mariucci, raise your glass. Here's to Mariucci, he's the horses." And that's right when John was walking in and Louis was with me. We never forgot that. And during the year that evolved, he went to coach in Providence, and he used to call me. He'd watch the state tournament on TV, and he'd call me. He said, "Okay, who do I get?" I said, "You get the second best. If Minnesota gets the best, I'll give you some other names to go after." So I used to give names to recruit in Minnesota for a long time. And then when he came in the NHL, it was right near the end when I was there. So we've been together. And the funny part about it is he's like a dictator on the team. Nobody in the league is as strong as general manager over his players as he is. He never had them have beards. Media, he'd never let them around, stuff like that. In fact, nobody ever got in a plane. But once I was in Toronto, their team was playing, and after the game, he talked to me. He said, "Where are you going tomorrow?" I said, "I'm going to New York." He said, "Well, why don't you come with us?" I said, "Where?" He said, "Come on the charter." And the guys were just shocked that I got on a plane, because somebody other than just the team, and they were on the plane. And I've been close to them, and whenever I get around Toronto or when I go to the island, call them and either have a drink or go for dinner with him in Toronto. And I got to call him. I'm waiting a couple of days, because he's just a terrific guy, and he's an unbelievable manager. He's an unbelievable. He really started that ACC. He got the basketball, their contract. He did all that. And before he went into hockey, I mean, he's the guy that really designed the whole thing. And it's going to be a change, but he's my age. He's going to be 84 years old.
So do you ever?
Why are you still working?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What, do you say that to him?
Yeah, I did last year when I was broadcasting the game in the island.
Yeah.
Got together. I'm like, "How can you still do this?" I said, but for a long while he lived in the arena in New Jersey. He wouldn't even go home.
That's too much.
He separated from his wife, and he just stayed in the arena. I mean, he's just. I've never seen anybody so locked in like him in my life. And I said, there are other things in this life, Lou. You got to start to understand. No, he's happy the way he is. That's why I can't wait to talk to him now and see what he's got in mind.
Now, it will be interesting to hear, and you'll, I know, keep us posted. Enjoy the hockey tonight. Good luck staying awake, and we will chat next week, Luigi. Thank you as always, my friend.
Okay, buddy. Thanks.
Appreciate you.
Take care.
Lou Nanne with outstanding analysis once again. Thanks to our good friends, sponsored by our good friends at Kemp's. Remember, Wild on the Fan tonight, Timberwolves on the Timberwolves channel tonight, all available to you via the free, new and improved iHeart Radio app. A little A-section ranting is up.
Oh, tasty high note. Oh, hi, don't mind me. I'm practicing my new baritone sax. I just heard PayPal's paying for people's stuff every day for 100 days, and there's $10 million up for grabs. All you have to do is use PayPal checkout online. So there's never been a better time to buy a few things off the old wish list. Like this leaf blower! PayPal could pay for your purchase. The Great PayPal Checkout.
No purchase necessary. Ends July 18th. See official rules at paypal.com/thegreatpaypalcheckout/terms. Participating merchants only must use PayPal checkout online. Coverage of up to $100 and eligible purchases per card.
Discover the life-changing benefits of Meow Greens for your cat. Ever see your cat slowing down or having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Meow Greens to your cat's food for 90 days, and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, I'm naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Meow Greens, and I invite you to take the Meow Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your cat will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, they're going to have better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch a free Jumpstart trial bag for your cat today. Go to trymeowgreens.com. Use promo code TRYMEOW. That's try MEOW. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your cat's food to improve your cat's health. Just add a packet of Meow Greens.
Coming up next here in the
Wolves fans, listen up. You could win a pair of lower level tickets for Game 3 on Friday against LA. Here's what you got to do. To enter, send us a talkback on the iHeartRadio app and predict who scores first for the Wolves tonight. Winner will be randomly selected from the correct answers. Good luck, and go Timberwolves.
I don't have any idea why anyone is gobsmacked with the news that the Hennepin County Attorney's Office has apparently chosen not to file criminal charges against, I think his name is Dylan Brian Adams, who works for the State Department of Human Services, in the cases in which he admits that he is responsible for more than $20,000 in damage to 6 Teslas in Minneapolis. This was over a few days last month. I don't know how anyone could be at all stunned, shocked, and amazed that the office will instead apparently file for Adams to be entered into what's called an adult diversion program. This is meant for what's described as first-time, low-level offenders. There was a quote from the Hennepin County Attorney's Office spokesperson. Our main priorities are to secure the restitution for the victims and hold Mr. Adams accountable, which, of course, is an insult to anyone's intelligence, but it's not, again, at all surprising that such a statement would come out of an office that has, as far as I know, only once been willing to go as far as to overcharge. And that was in the Londrigan case, a case that was disastrous from the beginning. And anybody, including great legal minds, knew was ridiculous, was insulting, and was Moriarty trying to do the old square peg into a round hole. The excuse being given is that this approach, when it comes to many property crime cases, helps to ensure the individual keeps their job and can pay restitution, as well as reducing the likelihood of repeat offenses. Criminal prosecution remains a possibility should unlawful behavior continue. Criminal prosecution should be part of this case from the very beginning. I don't think anybody is looking for the death penalty here. But the notion that this program is enough, it's not. And again, I'm not at all surprised that this is the road that her office would indeed go down. because there is a political component to this. Let's not make any bones about it. Among lefties, and among many, quite frankly, many, I would say centrists, the name here of the individual who, of course, built the Tesla empire has become far more negative than it once was, given the damage he has inflicted as an unelected member of the Trump administration. I have no problem criticizing him. I have no difficulty criticizing a number of the policies with which that he has been indeed involved in. That's the great thing about America. We can have that argument, that discussion on and on and on. But the notion that this gives anybody the right to vandalize, destroy, wreak havoc with Teslas is absurd. And the message that is conveyed by taking this approach is we're going to make some allowances here. And there's not a chance in hell, in my view, that if the individual associated with Tesla was an individual who represented the other side, the Moriarty side of the political aisle, politically speaking, there's absolutely no chance that she goes down this road. In fact, I think she's probably more likely to overcharge in a case like that. And let's also remember that once upon a time, to this day, there are, if you want to turn this political, there were a lot of lefties who bought vehicles that Musk produced, the Tesla. They thought they were being ecologically conscious in doing so, responsible in doing so. And the idea that an individual can just have carte blanche to determine that if I see a Tesla, this is the damage I'm going to do to it, not knowing anything about the political persuasion of the individual who owns or leases or whoever has the vehicle, deserves repercussions that go beyond, we're going to just put them in one of these pre-charge diversion cases. No, the message should be loud and clear. There should be no tolerance of what's taken place here. But we've gone through the stories month after month, year after year in her case, gone down the list of cases that she has either undercharged or that has been so recklessly handled in her office that judges have gone out of their way to say, I'm going to do something I haven't done in 25 years. I don't like the way the charges have been reduced in this case. I don't think I can fairly sign off on that. The pattern is clear. We understand, and now you can always argue that people are getting exactly what they voted for. That may well indeed be the case, but we're still, I think, allowed to react to the policies that have been implemented and the policies that have been put in place. And, you know, there was a case, was it a week or two ago in Bloomington, Minnesota, in which the police chief there, Booker Hodges, said his department was yielding to the wishes of one Tesla owner in that case, and that they wouldn't pursue a criminal case against a woman who did thousands of dollars of damage to his vehicle parked outside a Cub Foods. In fact, I think in this case, the owner of the vehicle said, I want the damage taken care of, but I don't believe there's any need. I don't need prosecution here. Individuals who are victimized, I guess, have every right to weigh in on that particular issue. But Hodges said something else on that occasion that made a lot of sense to me. The police chief, Mr. Hodges. Let me back up. Hodges is pushing back on what he called, quote, the rhetoric that is being spewed out here by some of those in leadership, unquote, about Musk, his car company, and the Trump administration. We need our leaders to start leading and stop feeding this rhetoric. People should be able to drive whatever car they want without fear of going into a store and someone scratching their car or people yelling at them because of the car that they choose to drive. It's time for all of us, just to start getting along and knock this stuff off, man. People should be able to be left alone. Now, that doesn't mean if you're in a position of authority, you can't criticize the policies. That also is the American way. But we had the foolish commentary from the governor of the great state of Minnesota about being seemingly reveling in Tesla stock going down. And he very quickly then, once he was reminded that, well, the Tesla stock, there's Tesla stock in many state pension funds, for example. And he said, just playing around. That's the kind of rhetoric to me that is childish, that doesn't get us anywhere. There's plenty of ways to criticize this particular individual, Elon Musk. And again, I'm not asking any politicians to pull any punches on whatever their positions might be here. But I think, quite frankly, that was what the police chief was referring to. And he's right. That was not a good look. Believe me when I say, if a righty politician had done the exact same thing, one of the first people who would have been ripping the childishness of it would be Governor Walz. He'd say, well, let's be serious about this. There are ramifications when it comes to stock, for example, in which a lot of other people who have nothing to do with Elon Musk policies would end up suffering. So let's be consistent in that regard. And quite frankly, in this state, we're not very often. There's also a quote, speaking of police chiefs, from Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara responding to the decision to file for Dylan Bryan Adams to be entered into an adult diversion program. It's again, embarrassing but predictable. Minneapolis Police Department did its job. It identified and investigated a crime trend, identified and arrested a suspect, and presented a case file to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office for consideration of charges. This case impacted at least 6 victims and totaled over $20,000 in damages. Any frustration related to the charging decision of the Hennepin County Attorney should be directed solely at her office. Our investigators are always frustrated when the cases they poured their hearts into are declined. In my experience, the victims in these cases often feel the same. He's 100% right. It's another bad, reckless decision out of an office that has consistently performed at this particular level. And again, no one should be surprised at this point. And let's face it, this is a Democratic city, right? It's a clearly Democratic city. Sooner or later, one would hope there would be enough lefties who would say, what are we doing here? In all seriousness, is this what we had in mind? Does this approach, do these policies strike anybody as being as contributing to the notion of fairness? Accountability still should matter, and I think does matter amongst lots of Democrats. But let's be honest and let's be clear. It ain't going to matter if I keep hearing this, well, there's a lot of Dems who are very unhappy with her policies. Big deal. If you're not going to vote for someone else, if you are not going to lead a movement that says we can, as Democrats, still go down the Andy Luger route, which is we're going to hold criminals responsible for the things they do. We believe in fairness. We believe Minneapolis police has a lot to learn in terms of its history. We know what the history is. But we should be able to do more than one thing at the same time. And the notion that part of this new revolution is to let criminal activity go unpunished, at least at a proper level, is ridiculous. And again, this does not involve bodily harm. Clearly, we get that. There are distinctions to be drawn here. This is about property. But that does not mean, given there is, I think, especially when there is clearly a political component to this thing, that this is nearly enough of a response. But nobody should be surprised. Mary Moriarty, clearly revels in this. She, in her own mind, believes she is exacting some form of curious revenge. I don't understand it, but I will just tell you that I respect far more fully and completely the work of another Democrat, Andy Luger, when it comes to these sorts of issues. There is a clear distinction between the Andy Lugers of the Democratic Party and the Mary Moriartys. And until the Democrats also say, well, we're voting one way more than we're voting the other, it ain't going to stop, and there will be no point in whining going.
Oh, tasty high note. Oh, hi, don't mind me. I'm practicing my new baritone sax. I just heard PayPal's paying for people's stuff every day for 100 days, and there's $10 million up for grabs. All you have to do is use PayPal checkout online. So there's never been a better time to buy a few things off the old wish list. Like this leaf blower. PayPal can pay for your purchase. The Great PayPal Checkout.
No purchase necessary. Ends July 18th. See official rules at paypal.com/thegreatpaypalcheckout/terms. Participating merchants only must use PayPal Checkout online. Coverage of up to $100 and eligible purchases per card.
Discover the life-changing benefits of Meow Greens for your cat. Ever see your cat slowing down or having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Meow Greens to your cat's food for 90 days, and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, I'm naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Meow Greens, and I invite you to take the Meow Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your cat will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, they're going to have better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch a free Jumpstart trial bag for your cat today. Go to trymeowgreens.com. Use promo code TRYMEOW. That's try MEOW. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your cat's food to improve your cat's health. Just add a packet of Meow Greens.
Forward.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
It's brought to you by American Pressure.
Hey, breaking news, by the way, the Sixth Man of the Year award for the 2024-25 season has apparently been selected, and it is not surprising. It is Celtics sixth man, Peyton Pritchard. Let me get the rest of the list here. Malik Beasley, former Wolf, second. Ty Jerome, Cleveland, third. DeAndre Hunter, Cleveland, fourth. And our defending champion of the Sixth Man of the Year award, Naz Reid, finishes fifth. Here's what's even more encouraging. Nickeil Alexander-Walker finishes sixth, giving some indication of the depth of the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2024-25. So we'll see what happens tonight. Obviously, tomorrow's program will be heavy on reaction to the Wild Game 2, whether they can get themselves back in the series, and the Wolves Game 2, if they can put themselves in a pretty commanding position by shocking the beautiful people in L.A. for the second consecutive game. We want to thank our outstanding cavalcade of guests today. Seifert in studio to talk NFL draft between 3:30 and 4:30. We had Mitch Lawrence on the NBA playoffs at 4:30 to 5. And, of course, Luigi on hockey between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. Tomorrow is Wexler Wednesday. Marty Wexler III will indeed join us again. I think this is the 12th consecutive year he has been part of our coverage. He might even go back longer than that. I have a very difficult time paying attention to years. But we do have him confirmed for tomorrow. I think in the 3 o'clock hour, but I'm not sure. Follow X. I'll give details and updates on that overnight or into tomorrow. And we also want to thank your guy, Gerby. We had a brief conversation with Gerby, who claims he's in charge of the cap giveaway to whoever is picked, whatever team they're picked with, right? That he's the guy who's got to do all that cap work. Seifert said ordinarily that's a job of like an executive vice president of the National Football League. So it seems like a bit of a come down, but Gerby insists that will be his role when Green Bay hosts the National Football League draft, where the new estimates are over the 3-day draft, about 1.5 million people will be attending in Green Bay, shattering all previous records.
Look, we're having the draft in Green Bay. We want it to have more of a local feel. We're not this big-wig, executive, white-collar. This is blue-collar. We're having locals do the draft stuff. I think Gerby's a perfect choice for it.
100%. There's absolutely no question about that. No question, Dan. So our hockey coverage, you tell me. I was assuming it was going to be like an hour and 15 minutes. It's apparently going to be like 6 minutes. Starting at 9 o'clock or 8:45?
You get an extra 15 minutes because of the 10:15. Okay. So there's that.
So it's a 10:15 central time puck drop, we think. Not just 10 o'clock, as we had previously been led to believe. Wolves are 9 o'clock, maybe more likely 9:15 as well. So use whatever creativity you need if you intend to actually stay up for these games. Whatever will work for you. Maybe a lot of people are just going to go to bed and say, I'll figure it all out in the morning. That's another way to go. But my guess is there's going to be a lot of people watching tonight and maybe even flipping back and forth. with a little bit of a head start, as I said, involving the Wolves and then the Wild after that. Are you willing to predict a winner and a score tonight, Wild Vegas?
I'm not going to do the sadness insurance bit. Let's get a split in this series and get home ice advantage. Let's go 3-2 Wild.
3-2 Wild to make it interesting. Coming back to the X.
Let's
Fair
play.
enough. We'll keep that in mind. Thanks for helping us out again today, Brett Blakemore. Thanks again for watching. Thank you very much for listening. And we'll chat with you again beginning at 3 o'clock right here on The Fan.
But you know what?
Get your mother-loving ears on because your big-time radio DJ's got news. PayPal lets you choose how you want to pay for all the stuff. With PayPal, I can pay in-store, pay online, or pay over time. What's that? You want this translated into song? I hope you're sitting down. You can pay your own way. You keep those ears on, you hear? Don't just pay, baby. PayPal.
Learn more at paypal.com.
Discover the life-changing benefits of Meow Greens for your cat. Ever see your cat slowing down or having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Meow Greens to your cat's food for 90 days, and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, I'm naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Meow Greens, and I invite you to take the Meow Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your cat will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, they're going to have better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch a free Jumpstart trial bag for your cat today. Go to trymeowgreens.com. Use promo code TRYMEOW. That's try, M-E-O-W. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your cat's food to improve your cat's health. Just add a packet of Meow Greens.